Millionaire mocks chauffeur's ambition. His success leaves him regretting everything. The sleek black car glided to a stop in front of the towering skyscraper, its glossy exterior reflecting the late morning sun. Liam, the chauffeur, stepped out in his neatly pressed uniform, adjusting his cap before opening the rear door. Inside, Victor Carlyle, one of the city's wealthiest businessmen, was immersed in his phone, barking orders at someone on the other end. "I told you to have the report ready by noon, not a minute later." Victor snapped before ending the call abruptly. He glanced up at Liam, who stood patiently, holding the door open. "Good morning, sir," Liam said with a polite nod. Victor waved dismissively, stepping out of the car with his leather briefcase in hand. "Morning, Liam. Drive carefully. That's the most important thing you'll do all day, isn't it?" Liam hesitated, then forced a smile. "Yes, sir. Safety is key." Victor smirked, adjusting his tailored suit as he strode toward the building's entrance. Behind him, Liam closed the car door with a sigh, leaning briefly against the vehicle before slipping back into the driver's seat. Later that day, as Victor emerged from his office after a long series of meetings, he found Liam standing by the car, engrossed in a book. The sight caught him off guard. "What are you reading?" Victor asked, his tone curious but tinged with condescension. Liam glanced up, startled. "It's a book on entrepreneurship, sir." Victor raised an eyebrow. "Entrepreneurship? Why on earth are you reading that?" Liam straightened his posture, holding the book tightly. "I've always been interested in starting my own business. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can." Victor chuckled, a sharp, dismissive sound. "Liam, let me give you some advice. People like you don't start businesses. You're better off sticking to what you're good at, driving." Liam's cheeks flushed, but he kept his expression neutral. "Thank you for the advice, sir." Victor smirked, shaking his head as he slid into the car. "You're welcome. Sometimes it's better to hear the truth." The days turned into weeks, but Victor's words lingered in Liam's mind. Every time he opened his book or jotted down ideas in his notebook during breaks, he heard that mocking tone. Yet, instead of discouraging him, it fueled a quiet determination. If anything, Victor's condescension only made Liam more resolved to prove him wrong. In his small apartment late at night, Liam pored over online courses, tutorials, and books on business strategy. He worked tirelessly to refine his idea, a platform that would connect freelance drivers to clients in need of personalized transportation services. It was a concept born from his own experiences and frustrations in the industry, and he believed it had real potential. One evening, as Victor was leaving an extravagant gala, slightly tipsy and in high spirits, he found Liam waiting by the car as usual. The sight of his chauffeur's ever-present calm demeanor irritated him for reasons he couldn't quite place. "You know, Liam," Victor said, slurring slightly, "ambition is a funny thing. It's like a lottery ticket. Most people don't win, but they all think they're special enough to try." Liam helped him into the car, his expression unreadable. "I suppose that's one way to look at it, sir." Victor chuckled, leaning back against the plush leather seat. "Take my advice, Liam. Be realistic. Dreams are for people with connections, capital, and a bit of luck. People like me." As Victor rambled on about the hardships of maintaining his empire, Liam remained silent, his grip tightening on the steering wheel. He knew better than to argue. Instead, he focused on the road ahead, letting Victor's words roll off him like water. Months passed, and Liam's project began to take shape. He used every spare moment to work on his platform, collaborating with developers and testing the interface. By the time he launched the service, he had a small but dedicated network of drivers ready to join. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks, challenges, and moments of doubt, but Liam persisted. Word of his platform spread quickly, fueled by its simplicity and efficiency. Clients appreciated the personalized service, and drivers valued the fair treatment and flexibility it offered. Before long, the platform gained traction, attracting investors and partnerships that helped it expand far beyond its initial scope. Liam still worked as a chauffeur during the day, quietly balancing both worlds. Victor, oblivious to his employees' growing success, continued to treat him with the same mixture of disdain and indifference. One afternoon, Victor stormed out of a meeting, his face red with frustration. He climbed into the car, throwing his briefcase onto the seat beside him. "Another deal gone sour," he muttered. "It's impossible to find reliable partners these days." Liam nodded politely, glancing at him in the rearview mirror. "That's unfortunate, sir. I hope things improve." Victor sighed, leaning back in his seat. "You wouldn't understand, Liam. Building an empire isn't easy. It takes a certain kind of person, someone with vision." Liam suppressed a smile, keeping his eyes on the road. "I imagine it does, sir." The tension between Victor's arrogance and Liam's quiet determination continued to brew, though Victor remained unaware of the seismic shifts happening just beneath the surface. Liam's platform, now named DriveConnect, was growing exponentially. Its innovative approach to connecting clients and drivers, coupled with stellar customer service, was gaining attention in the media. Articles began popping up online, praising the service as the future of personalized transportation. Liam kept a low profile, focusing on his work and ensuring every part of the business ran smoothly. He didn't want recognition for the sake of fame. He wanted his company to succeed because it genuinely helped people. But as the company expanded, it became impossible to stay completely anonymous. Investors and clients alike began asking for the story behind DriveConnect, curious about the person who had built such an impressive platform. One morning, as Liam dropped Victor off at his office, the businessman's phone buzzed with a notification. He absent-mindedly opened the article while stepping into the elevator. The headline caught his attention immediately: "Meet the visionary behind DriveConnect, the platform revolutionizing private transportation." Victor skimmed the article, his brow furrowing. The story outlined the success of DriveConnect and hinted at the founder's humble beginnings as a chauffeur. A small photo at the bottom of the piece confirmed what Victor could scarcely believe. Liam was the founder. He stood frozen in the elevator, his mind racing. How was this possible? Liam? The same man who held open his car door every morning, who listened silently to his drunken ramblings about ambition and failure. The idea seemed absurd, and yet, there it was in black and white. Later that day, Victor couldn't contain his curiosity. When Liam arrived to pick him up, Victor slid into the back seat, unusually quiet at first. As Liam merged into traffic, Victor finally spoke. "I read something interesting today," he began, his tone carefully neutral, "about a company called DriveConnect. Ever heard of it?" Liam's hands tightened on the steering wheel for a fraction of a second before he replied. "Yes, sir. I've heard of it." Victor leaned forward, his voice sharp. "Don't play coy with me, Liam. Is it true? Are you the founder?" There was a long pause before Liam sighed and nodded. "Yes, sir. I am." Victor's laughter was incredulous. "Unbelievable. You've been running a business this whole time, right under my nose?" Liam glanced at him in the rearview mirror, his expression calm but firm. "It wasn't relevant to my work as your chauffeur, sir." Victor shook his head, a mixture of disbelief and grudging admiration flickering across his face. "And now it's all over the news. You're some kind of entrepreneurial genius, apparently." Liam didn't respond, focusing on the road ahead. Victor studied him for a moment, his mind flashing back to all the times he had dismissed Liam's ambitions as foolish. The memory left an unpleasant taste in his mouth. Over the next few weeks, Victor couldn't shake the revelation. Everywhere he turned, he heard about DriveConnect. Its rapid growth, its glowing reviews, its disruptive impact on the industry. The more he learned, the more he realized just how wrong he had been about Liam. It wasn't just that Liam had built a successful company, it was that he had done it with dignity, grace, and a quiet determination that Victor could no longer ignore. Victor found himself reflecting on his own career. He had always prided himself on being a self-made man, but the truth was, he had benefited from privilege and connections that had smoothed his path. Liam, on the other hand, had started with nothing and turned his dreams into reality despite the odds, and despite Victor's belittling remarks. One evening, as Liam drove Victor home after a long day, Victor cleared his throat awkwardly. "Liam," he began, his voice unusually hesitant. "I owe you an apology." Liam glanced at him in the rearview mirror, surprised. "An apology, sir?" "Yes," Victor said, shifting uncomfortably in his seat. "I was wrong to dismiss you, to mock your ambitions. I underestimated you, and for that, I'm sorry. Liam was silent for a moment, processing the unexpected words. Finally, he nodded. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Victor sighed, running a hand through his hair. You've done something incredible, Liam. I hope you know that. I do, Liam said simply, his tone devoid of arrogance. And I hope you understand that ambition isn't reserved for a certain kind of person. It's something anyone can have, if they're willing to work for it. Victor nodded slowly, the weight of Liam's words settling over him. You're right. I see that now. In the months that followed, Liam stepped away from his role as Victor's chauffeur to focus on Drive Connect full-time. The transition was bittersweet, but Victor surprised him by offering genuine support. If there's anything you need, introductions, advice, anything, don't hesitate to ask, Victor said during their final ride together. I may not have believed in you before, but I do now. Thank you, sir, Liam said with a small smile. That means a lot. Drive Connect's success continued to soar, and Liam became a respected figure in the business world. He was invited to speak at conferences, mentor aspiring entrepreneurs, and collaborate with industry leaders. Through it all, he remained grounded, never forgetting the journey that had brought him here, or the people who had doubted him along the way. As for Victor, the experience humbled him in ways he hadn't expected. Watching Liam's rise taught him to value the people around him, regardless of their station in life. It also inspired him to reflect on his own leadership style, prompting him to become a more compassionate and supportive figure in his company. One day, years later, Victor and Liam crossed paths at a charity event. Victor, now semi-retired, approached Liam with a smile. Liam, he said warmly, extending a hand. It's good to see you. Liam shook his hand, his grip firm. Good to see you too, Mr. Carlyle. Victor chuckled. Please, call me Victor. I think we've moved past formalities, don't you? Liam smiled. Fair enough, Victor. The two men talked for a while, reminiscing about their shared past and marveling at how much had changed. As they parted ways, Victor couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the lesson he had learned and for the man who had taught it to him. Liam, too, felt a quiet satisfaction as he left the event. His success wasn't about proving Victor wrong anymore. It was about proving himself right. And that, he realized, was the greatest victory of all. After their encounter at the charity event, Liam couldn't help but reflect on how far he had come. Drive Connect had become a household name in the transportation industry, and its influence extended far beyond what he had initially imagined. What had started as a simple platform for connecting freelance drivers to clients had evolved into a full-fledged company offering innovative mobility solutions, from electric vehicle partnerships to eco-friendly transportation hubs in major cities. Victor Carlyle, on the other hand, had also undergone significant changes. His business empire had plateaued in recent years, and while he still held a considerable reputation, he no longer commanded the awe and dominance he once did. Watching Liam succeed had made Victor reevaluate not just his own career but his personal values. For the first time in years, Victor felt the need to learn from someone he once dismissed. Months after their charity event meeting, Victor reached out to Liam through a mutual connection. The message was simple but sincere. I'd love to meet and learn more about how you've built Drive Connect. I think there's a lot I could learn from you. Liam was surprised by the request but decided to accept. They arranged to meet at one of Drive Connect's headquarters, a sleek, modern office building in the heart of the city. When Victor arrived, he was struck by the energy of the place. Young professionals bustled about, their enthusiasm palpable, and the atmosphere was a stark contrast to the more rigid environment of his own companies. Liam greeted Victor warmly, extending a hand as he led him through the open office space. It's good to see you again, Liam said. Welcome to Drive Connect. Victor glanced around, his eyes landing on the vibrant brainstorming boards and the collaborative workstations. This is impressive, Liam. Very impressive. Thank you, Liam replied. We've worked hard to build a culture that encourages innovation and respects everyone's contributions. The two sat down in a glass-walled conference room overlooking the bustling city streets. Victor leaned forward, his expression uncharacteristically earnest. I'll be honest with you, Liam. I didn't come here just to admire your success. I came to learn. Watching you build this has made me realize there are gaps in how I've run my businesses, especially when it comes to valuing the people around me. Liam studied Victor for a moment before speaking. That kind of self-awareness takes courage, Victor. Most people never get there. Victor nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips. I suppose it's never too late to change, is it? Never, Liam said firmly. But it starts with listening to your employees, your clients, and even the people you've underestimated. Victor chuckled softly, the irony of Liam's words not lost on him. I'll take that to heart. Over the next few months, Victor and Liam developed an unlikely partnership. Victor began attending workshops and events hosted by Drive Connect, soaking up insights from Liam's team and observing how they operated. He even sought Liam's advice on modernizing his own businesses, implementing changes that prioritized employee engagement and sustainable practices. For Liam, the partnership was an unexpected but welcome opportunity to further his mission. He had never set out to compete with or overshadow Victor. His goal had always been to create something meaningful. Seeing Victor embrace a more open-minded approach felt like a validation of that mission. Meanwhile, Drive Connect continued to expand its impact. Liam launched an initiative to provide affordable transportation options for underserved communities, partnering with local governments and nonprofits to make mobility accessible to everyone. The program was a resounding success, earning widespread praise and inspiring similar efforts in other cities. At the same time, Liam began mentoring young entrepreneurs, sharing his story and offering guidance to those navigating the challenges of starting a business. He often spoke about the importance of resilience and the power of quiet determination. Success doesn't happen overnight, he told one group of students during a guest lecture at a university. It's a series of small steps, hard lessons, and moments where you choose to keep going even when the odds are against you. And above all, it's about staying true to your values. As Liam's influence grew, so did his ability to shape the industry in meaningful ways. He advocated for fair treatment and better pay for drivers across the board, using Drive Connect as a model for ethical business practices. His efforts led to widespread changes in the transportation sector, earning him respect not just as a businessman but as a leader with integrity. Victor, too, began to see the ripple effects of Liam's approach. His companies experienced a resurgence, fueled by the cultural and operational changes he had implemented under Liam's guidance. Employees felt more valued, clients noticed the difference, and Victor himself found a renewed sense of purpose. One evening, as Victor sat in his office reflecting on the journey he had taken, he decided to write a letter to Liam. It wasn't a business proposal or a request for advice. It was simply a heartfelt acknowledgement of the impact Liam had made on his life. Dear Liam, I don't think I've ever properly expressed the depth of my gratitude for the lessons you've taught me. Not just about business, but about humility, perseverance, and the importance of believing in others. You once told me that ambition isn't reserved for a certain kind of person, and you were right. Watching you succeed has reminded me that greatness comes in many forms, and often from the places we least expect. Thank you for your patience, your wisdom, and your willingness to forgive my past arrogance. You've changed the way I see the world, and for that, I'll always be grateful. Yours sincerely, Victor. Liam received the letter a few days later and read it in his office, a quiet smile spreading across his face. He folded it carefully and placed it in his desk drawer, knowing it was a testament not just to his journey but to the power of growth and understanding. As he looked out the window at the city below, Liam felt a profound sense of fulfillment. His success wasn't just measured in numbers or accolades. It was in the lives he had touched, the barriers he had broken, and the legacy he was building. And that, he knew, was worth everything. As the years passed, Liam's influence grew even further, but his core values remained the same. Drive Connect became a global force, transforming the transportation industry and setting new standards for how businesses could balance innovation with social responsibility. Liam had built something much larger than a company. He had created a movement. Victor Carlisle, now fully retired, continued to watch Liam's journey with admiration and pride. Their once tense relationship had transformed into a friendship built on mutual respect. Victor often visited Drive Connect headquarters, not as a business mogul but as a mentor seeking to contribute to the next generation of leaders. One day, during one of Victor's visits, Liam invited him to sit in on a meeting with a group of young entrepreneurs. The meeting was part of Drive Connect's new initiative, the Next Step program, which provided funding and mentorship to startups focused on solving real-world problems. The young entrepreneurs eagerly shared their ideas, solutions ranging from affordable housing innovations to renewable energy storage. Victor sat quietly, taking it all in, but Liam noticed how engaged he was, nodding thoughtfully and jotting down notes in a small notebook. After the meeting, Liam approached Victor. "You seemed really into that discussion," he said with a smile. Victor chuckled. "It's inspiring to see so much passion and creativity. I think I might have some ideas to share with them." "Well," Liam said, "why don't you join as a mentor? Your experience could make a real difference." Victor raised an eyebrow. "You think these young minds would want to hear from an old dog like me?" "Absolutely," Liam said without hesitation. "You have a wealth of knowledge, and I think they'd benefit from hearing about the lessons you've learned, especially the ones you've learned the hard way." Victor nodded slowly, a smile spreading across his face. "All right, let's do it." Victor's role as a mentor in the Next Step program brought a renewed sense of purpose to his life. He worked closely with the participants, sharing not just business strategies but also the personal lessons he had learned from his mistakes and misjudgments. His insights, paired with Liam's supportive leadership, created an environment where innovation and growth thrived. One of the most meaningful projects Victor worked on involved a team of young engineers developing a low-cost solar-powered water purification system for rural communities. Their determination reminded Victor of Liam's drive during the early days of Drive Connect, and he poured his energy into helping them refine their approach. When the project launched successfully, Victor attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony in a small village, surrounded by the engineers, local families, and Liam. As he stood by Liam's side, watching children drink clean water from the system for the first time, Victor felt an overwhelming sense of pride, not just in the project, but in the journey that had brought him there. Meanwhile, Liam's efforts to expand Drive Connect's social impact continued. He launched new initiatives aimed at addressing broader challenges, including a program to provide job opportunities for veterans and another that offered subsidized transportation for healthcare access in underserved areas. These programs not only made a tangible difference in people's lives but also solidified Drive Connect's reputation as a company driven by purpose. Liam also began writing a book, a combination of memoir and business philosophy titled Driven by Values. The book chronicled his journey from being a chauffeur to becoming a global leader in transportation, offering insights into the principles that had guided him along the way. He dedicated an entire chapter to the importance of humility, referencing his relationship with Victor as a pivotal part of his story. When the book was published, it became an instant bestseller, resonating with readers from all walks of life. Liam received letters from aspiring entrepreneurs, business leaders, and even students, all thanking him for sharing his journey and inspiring them to pursue their dreams. One evening, as Liam and Victor sat together at a gala celebrating the 10th anniversary of Drive Connect, Victor raised a glass in a toast. "To Liam," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "You've shown the world that ambition isn't just about building empires, it's about lifting others up and making a difference. I'm honored to call you a friend." Liam smiled, raising his glass in return. "To the lessons we've learned," he said, "and to the people who've helped us along the way." The two men clinked glasses, their journey together a testament to the power of growth, understanding, and redemption. As the night wore on and the celebration continued, Liam couldn't help but reflect on everything that had brought him to this moment. His success wasn't just about proving Victor, or anyone else, wrong. It was about proving to himself that he was capable of greatness, and using that greatness to create something meaningful. And as he looked around the room, filled with the people who had supported him and those he had inspired, Liam knew one thing for certain: the best journeys aren't about where you end up, they're about the lives you touch along the way. As the years went by, Liam's legacy grew beyond what he had ever envisioned. Drive Connect was no longer just a company. It was a symbol of what could be achieved when determination, empathy, and innovation came together. But Liam never allowed the success to change who he was at his core. He remained humble, approachable, and deeply connected to the mission that had inspired him in the first place. Victor, too, found new purpose in his later years. His mentorship role with the Next Step program brought him into contact with countless young visionaries, many of whom reminded him of Liam in their grit and ambition. He often joked that he had learned more from Liam than he had in his decades as a businessman, a statement that always earned a quiet smile from his friend. One day, Victor invited Liam to lunch at a quiet, upscale cafe tucked away in the city. As they sipped their coffee, Victor leaned back in his chair and regarded Liam with an uncharacteristic seriousness. "Liam," Victor began, "I've been thinking a lot about legacy lately. About what we leave behind when we're gone." Liam set down his cup, intrigued. "And what have you come up with?" Victor chuckled softly. "It's not the money or the accolades. It's the people we've impacted, the ones we've inspired, helped, or even challenged to see the world differently." Liam nodded. "I couldn't agree more. Legacy is about making a difference that outlives us." Victor smiled. "Which is why I want to propose something. I've been working on a new idea, a foundation that supports young entrepreneurs, especially those from disadvantaged backgrounds. I'd like you to help me run it." Liam blinked, taken aback. "A foundation? Victor, that's a huge undertaking." "It is," Victor admitted. "But it's also important. There are so many talented people out there who just need a chance, a bit of guidance, and some resources. You've proven how much of a difference that can make. I can't think of anyone better to lead this with me." Liam considered the offer, his mind racing. He had always been passionate about mentorship and giving back, and the idea of building something alongside Victor, a man who had once doubted him but now stood as one of his greatest allies, felt like the culmination of their shared journey. "All right," Liam said finally, a smile spreading across his face. "Let's do it." The foundation, aptly named the Drive Forward Initiative, launched with great fanfare. Its mission was simple but profound: to provide mentorship, funding, and support to aspiring entrepreneurs from underprivileged communities. The initiative quickly gained traction, attracting high-profile donors and forging partnerships with universities and businesses. Victor and Liam worked tirelessly to build the foundation, combining their strengths in a way that felt natural and seamless. Victor brought his decades of experience in navigating corporate structures and securing funding, while Liam infused the initiative with his passion for innovation and his first-hand understanding of perseverance. The Drive Forward initiative became a beacon of hope for countless individuals. Stories poured in from recipients who had used the foundation's resources to start businesses, create jobs, and uplift their communities. One young woman, who had developed an app to provide educational resources to rural students, wrote a heartfelt letter to Victor and Liam. "Without your foundation, I don't think I would have ever had the courage or means to pursue my dream," she wrote. "You've shown me that people like me can achieve great things, and for that, I will always be grateful." As the foundation grew, so did the bond between Victor and Liam. They often joked about how far they had come since the days when Victor mocked Liam's ambitions. "Do you remember that time you told me I should stick to driving?" Liam asked one evening as they walked through a bustling gala hosted by the foundation. Victor winced, though there was a twinkle of humor in his eyes. "I'll never live that down, will I?" "Probably not," Liam said with a laugh. "But to be fair, you've made up for it." Victor grinned. "Good to know." One of the most significant milestones in their journey came years later when Liam received a prestigious global award for his contributions to innovation and social impact. The ceremony was held in a grand hall filled with dignitaries, business leaders, and changemakers from around the world. Victor sat in the audience, his chest swelling with pride as Liam stepped onto the stage to accept the honor. In his speech, Liam reflected on the path that had brought him to this moment. "When I started Drive Connect, I wasn't thinking about awards or recognition," he said. "I was thinking about the people I wanted to help, the drivers and clients who deserved something better. Along the way, I've learned that success isn't about where you start, it's about how far you're willing to go and who you bring with you on the journey." He paused, his gaze sweeping over the audience. "I want to thank everyone who believed in me, and even those who didn't. Because sometimes, The greatest fuel for ambition comes from proving to yourself that you're capable of more than anyone else can see. The audience erupted into applause, and Victor felt a lump rise in his throat. He thought back to the man he had once been, the man who couldn't see beyond Liam's role as his chauffeur, and felt a deep sense of gratitude for the lessons life had taught him. In the years that followed, Liam and Victor continued to expand the foundation and their influence. Together, they built not just businesses but opportunities for countless others, proving that the greatest legacies are those that empower others to succeed. One evening, as they sat on a balcony overlooking the city, Victor turned to Liam and said, "You know, if someone had told me years ago that my chauffeur would become one of my closest friends and greatest inspirations, I would have laughed them out of the room." Liam smiled, his eyes twinkling with humor. "Life has a funny way of surprising us." Victor raised his glass in a toast. To surprises, to lessons, and to the road ahead. Liam clinked his glass against Victor's. To the road ahead. And as they sat there, two men from vastly different worlds who had come together to build something greater than themselves, they knew one thing for certain: the journey was far from over. Years passed, and the Drive Forward initiative became one of the most celebrated philanthropic organizations in the world. Its reach extended to dozens of countries, providing funding and mentorship for thousands of young entrepreneurs who otherwise might not have had the opportunity to pursue their dreams. Liam and Victor had become not just collaborators, but icons of what genuine redemption and mutual growth could accomplish. One particular project stood out among the foundation's many initiatives, a program aimed at empowering drivers in underserved regions. Liam had always carried with him the memory of his own days as a chauffeur, and he wanted to ensure that others in similar roles could find pathways to greater opportunities. The program provided access to education, financial literacy, and even pathways to entrepreneurship for drivers. It wasn't just about helping them advance professionally, it was about giving them the tools to take control of their futures. The impact was extraordinary. Stories began to emerge of former drivers who had started their own businesses, sent their children to college, or bought their first homes, all thanks to the program. At one of the program's events, a man approached Liam, tears in his eyes. "I used to be a driver like you," he said, clutching Liam's hand. "Because of this program, I now own my own fleet of vehicles. My family's life has changed completely. Thank you for believing in people like us." Liam was deeply moved. He shook the man's hand firmly and replied, "You did the work. You had the vision. I just wanted to make sure you had the chance." Victor, now well into his retirement, often marveled at the transformations he witnessed. At one board meeting for the foundation, he looked around the room at the young leaders they had mentored, each one a living testament to the power of opportunity. "Liam," Victor said after the meeting, his voice filled with emotion, "you've built something extraordinary. Watching these people grow, seeing what they've accomplished, it's the greatest thing I've been a part of in my entire career." Liam smiled at his friend. "It wouldn't have happened without you, Victor. You showed me that even the most unlikely partnerships can create something incredible." Victor laughed. Who would have thought that the arrogant businessman and the ambitious chauffeur would end up changing the world together? As time went on, Liam began to think about his own legacy in a broader sense. He had spent years building Drive Connect and the Drive Forward initiative, but he wanted to ensure that their work would continue long after he was gone. He started laying the groundwork for a leadership transition, mentoring a new generation of leaders who shared his vision and values. Victor, too, played a key role in shaping the foundation's future. Though he had once ruled his own companies with an iron fist, he now approached leadership with a collaborative mindset, always emphasizing the importance of listening and learning. One of the young leaders they mentored, a woman named Amara, showed particular promise. Amara had grown up in a low-income neighborhood and used the foundation's resources to start a company that provided affordable clean energy solutions to underserved communities. Her passion and determination reminded both Liam and Victor of their own journeys, and they took her under their wing. "You're going to do great things, Amara," Victor told her during one of their meetings. "I see so much of Liam in you." Amara smiled. "Thank you. I just hope I can live up to what you've both built." Liam placed a hand on her shoulder. "You won't just live up to it, you'll surpass it. That's what every great leader does." As the foundation celebrated its 20th anniversary, Liam and Victor were honored at a gala attended by dignitaries, business leaders, and the countless individuals whose lives they had touched. The event was a testament to their shared journey, a journey that had begun with doubt and condescension but had blossomed into something far greater. During his speech, Liam reflected on the lessons he had learned over the years. "When I first started this journey, I thought success was about proving others wrong," he said. "But I've learned that true success isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about creating something that uplifts others. It's about building bridges where there were once walls and turning moments of doubt into opportunities for growth." Victor, who spoke after Liam, echoed his sentiments. "If there's one thing I've learned from Liam," he said, "it's that no matter where you start in life, your potential is limitless if you have the courage to believe in yourself and the humility to learn from others. Liam taught me that, and it's a lesson I'll carry with me forever." As the evening wound down, Liam and Victor found themselves sitting together, watching as the crowd mingled and celebrated. The years had softened them both, but their bond remained as strong as ever. "You know," Victor said, swirling his glass of wine, "if someone had told me all those years ago that my chauffeur would become my greatest teacher, I would have laughed in their face." Liam chuckled. "And if someone had told me I'd end up working alongside the man who once mocked me, I wouldn't have believed them." Victor raised his glass. "To life's unexpected turns." Liam clinked his glass against Victor's. "To unexpected turns, and the people who make them worthwhile." As they sat together, two men who had started on opposite sides of a divide but had come together to change countless lives, they knew one thing for certain: their journey had been about far more than success. It had been about growth, redemption, and the enduring power of believing in others. And for them, that was the greatest legacy of all. In the years that followed, the Drive Forward initiative continued to flourish, with new chapters opening across the globe. Liam and Victor, now regarded as elder statesmen in the realms of business and philanthropy, found their roles evolving from active leaders to guiding mentors. They watched with pride as the leaders they had mentored took the reins, expanding the foundation's mission and finding innovative ways to address challenges. One such moment came when Amara, the young entrepreneur they had mentored, spearheaded an ambitious new project. She proposed a global summit that would bring together leaders from all sectors: business, technology, education, and community development, to collaborate on solutions for systemic inequality. It was a bold idea, one that mirrored the spirit of innovation and inclusion Liam had championed throughout his career. The summit, named the Visionary Forum, became a landmark event. Held in a sprawling convention center, it featured panels, workshops, and keynote speeches from some of the world's most influential thinkers. Liam and Victor were invited to deliver the opening address together, a fitting tribute to their shared legacy. Standing on the grand stage, Liam began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "This forum represents everything we've worked toward, bringing people together to create opportunities where there were once barriers. It's a reminder that no matter where we come from or what challenges we face, we all have the potential to drive change." Victor took the microphone next, his tone reflective but passionate. "When I look back at my life, the most meaningful moments weren't the deals I closed or the accolades I received. They were the moments I learned to value others, their ideas, their dreams, and their potential. Liam taught me that. And now, it's up to all of us to keep that lesson alive." The audience erupted into applause, and as Liam and Victor stepped off the stage, they were met by Amara, who hugged them both tightly. "You've paved the way for so many of us," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I promise to honor that by continuing what you started." As the summit concluded, Liam and Victor took a moment to reflect on the incredible journey that had brought them here. Sitting in a quiet corner of the convention center, they watched as attendees mingled, sharing ideas and forging connections. "This feels like the culmination of everything," Victor said, his voice soft. Liam shook his head with a small smile. "It's not the culmination, Victor. It's the beginning of the next chapter. For them, for us, for everything we've built." Victor nodded, a rare glimmer of tears in his eyes. "You're right. It's just incredible to see it all come full circle." In their later years, Liam and Victor decided to co-write a book about their journey together. Titled Bridging the Divide, Lessons from a Chauffeur and a CEO, the book chronicled their unique relationship, the challenges they faced, and the transformations that shaped their lives. It became an international bestseller, hailed as a testament to the power of humility, ambition, and mutual respect. The book resonated deeply with readers, sparking conversations about leadership, privilege, and the importance of supporting those who dare to dream. Letters and emails poured in from people who had been inspired by their story, many sharing their own tales of overcoming doubt and achieving the unexpected. One letter, in particular, stood out to Liam. It was from a young boy in a small town who had started a rideshare service using bicycles to help neighbors without transportation. The boy wrote, "Your story taught me that even someone like me can make a difference. Thank you for showing me that my dreams matter." Liam shared the letter with Victor, who read it silently before looking up. "This," Victor said, his voice breaking slightly, "is why we did all of this." The final chapter of Liam and Victor's journey came quietly but profoundly. As they both reached advanced ages, they spent more time reflecting on their lives and the impact they had made. Their friendship, once forged through conflict and redemption, had become a bond as strong as family. On a crisp autumn afternoon, Liam invited Victor to visit the first Drive Connect office, now preserved as a museum dedicated to the company's history. They walked through the halls, surrounded by artifacts and photographs that told the story of how a humble idea had grown into a global phenomenon. Stopping in front of a photograph of Liam in his chauffeur's uniform, Victor chuckled softly. "If someone had shown me this photo back then and told me what was coming, I'd have said they were crazy." Liam smiled. "Life has a way of surprising you, doesn't it?" As they left the museum, Victor turned to Liam and extended a hand. "Thank you, Liam, for everything." Liam took his hand, gripping it firmly. "Thank you, Victor. None of this would have happened without you." And as they walked into the sunset, two men who had once stood on opposite sides of a divide but had built something extraordinary together, they knew their legacy would live on, not just in the businesses and foundations they had created, but in the countless lives they had touched and the lessons they had shared with the world. Though Liam and Victor had transitioned into quieter roles in their later years, the impact of their work reverberated far and wide. The Drive Forward initiative and Drive Connect became institutions synonymous with innovation, inclusion, and empowerment. As the two men aged, they often joked about being retired, though in truth, their influence and wisdom were sought out by leaders from around the world. One day, Liam received a call from a government official in a developing nation. The official explained that their country was struggling with a lack of infrastructure, making it difficult for people in rural areas to access jobs, education, and healthcare. They asked if Liam and Victor would consider consulting on a national project to bring modern transportation solutions to these underserved communities. Liam brought the proposal to Victor, who, despite his age, immediately lit up at the challenge. "This is exactly why we started all of this," Victor said, his voice filled with conviction. "Let's do it." Liam and Victor embarked on what would be their last major collaborative project. They worked with engineers, urban planners, and local leaders to design a sustainable transportation network tailored to the needs of the population. The project integrated solar-powered vehicles, ride-sharing services, and community-driven programs to ensure accessibility and affordability. During the planning phase, Victor, now walking with a cane but as sharp as ever, often remarked how much the work reminded him of their earlier days. "It's like we've come full circle," he told Liam one afternoon as they reviewed blueprints. "We're still building bridges, just on a bigger scale." The project took years to implement, but when it finally launched, it was heralded as a game changer. For the first time, people in remote areas could access opportunities that had once been out of reach. Farmers transported their goods to markets, children attended schools in distant towns, and families accessed healthcare without enduring hours-long journeys on foot. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, both Liam and Victor were honored by the country's president, who described them as architects of possibility. Victor, though frielier now, gave a heartfelt speech. "This isn't just about transportation," he said, his voice trembling with emotion. "It's about connection, connecting people to each other, to opportunities, and to hope. And that's the greatest journey any of us can take." As the years went on, Liam and Victor began spending more time together outside of work. They often met at a small cafe near the park, where they would sip coffee and reminisce about their journey. On one such afternoon, Victor leaned back in his chair, a contented smile on his face. "You know, Liam," he said, "when I think about the man I was when we first met, it's hard to believe how much has changed. You showed me a different way of looking at the world, and at myself." Liam chuckled. "And you showed me that even the most unlikely people can become allies." Victor nodded. "It's been one hell of a ride, hasn't it?" Liam raised his coffee cup in a toast. "The best ride of my life." As time eventually caught up with Victor, he passed away peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by his family. The news shook Liam deeply, but he took comfort in the knowledge that Victor had lived a life of transformation, purpose, and impact. At the funeral, Liam delivered a eulogy that captured the essence of their shared journey. "Victor taught me that people are capable of incredible growth," Liam said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "He showed me that humility and redemption are not weaknesses, they're strengths. And he proved that even the smallest gesture of belief in someone can create ripples that change the world." After the service, Amara approached Liam, her eyes red from crying. "He was so proud of you," she said softly. "Of everything you both accomplished together." Liam smiled faintly. "And I was proud of him." In the years following Victor's passing, Liam continued to honor their shared legacy. He expanded the Drive Forward initiative to include scholarships in Victor's name, ensuring that young entrepreneurs could access the resources they needed to succeed. He also worked to preserve their story, helping produce a documentary that chronicled their journey from adversaries to allies. The documentary, titled Bridging the Divide, A Legacy of Ambition and Redemption, became a global sensation. Viewers were inspired by the unlikely friendship that had transformed not only two lives but countless others. It was a story of hope, resilience, and the enduring power of belief in one another. In his final years, Liam often visited the original Drive Connect office, now a museum dedicated to the company's history. One quiet afternoon, as he stood before a plaque commemorating the company's founding, he reflected on the path his life had taken. From a chauffeur mocked for his ambition to a global leader in innovation, Liam had defied every expectation, and he had done so with integrity and grace. But as he stood there, he realized that his greatest achievement wasn't the company or the foundation. It was the people, the drivers who found opportunity, the entrepreneurs who found inspiration, and the countless lives that had been uplifted along the way. Liam passed away peacefully at the age of 92, leaving behind a legacy that spanned generations. His funeral was attended by thousands, family, friends, colleagues, and beneficiaries of his work. Amara, now the CEO of the Drive Forward initiative, delivered a eulogy that captured the essence of his life. "Liam showed us that ambition doesn't have to come at the expense of others," she said. "He proved that true success is measured by the lives we touch and the opportunities we create. His story will live on in all of us who strive to make the world a better place." Years later, a statue of Liam and Victor was unveiled in the heart of the city, standing side by side as a symbol of unity and progress. The plaque beneath it read, "To those who dare to dream, and to those who have the courage to believe in others. Together, we can bridge any divide." And so, their story became a beacon of hope for generations to come, a reminder that even the most unlikely beginnings can lead to extraordinary endings.